areas in the city where we don't have sidewalks. We're still way behind on the plan that we have for ADA improvements that the federal mandate said that we had to comply with. Even though they have lessened that, we're still on track to continue it. Our streets are in such terrible repair right now that we have areas in our general street maintenance budget that are lacking. So I wouldn't say yes to any one specific thing without having the overall numbers in front of me to say that that's the number one priority on the list.
I would want to see the projects and what they cost and what we're doing with the money. But I know that we're going to end up with some surpluses in some areas this year, and so I think it's very doable.
Will you say your names, please?
I'm Mark.
And I'm Barb Campbell. And I would just like to point out that $30,000, when compared to a water treatment plant that's $30 million, and it's the water treatment plant that costs twice as much as the alternative water treatment plant, you know, a drop in the bucket seems like, you know, it's tiny. Yes, I absolutely think we have got to find that money in the budget and to look for more. Last week, I heard someone refer to himself as temporarily able-bodied, and I thought, boy, there you go. That's each and every one of us are temporarily able-bodied, and it's only a matter of time until we're not, and that is just something that our government is here to do, is to help all of our citizens that need assistance, and in transportation is one of those ways.
I do agree with that. Yeah, we need to have more of the community stand for city council, as we need to have, yes, I will take that yes, I will running for city council, and I will be on that committee.
All right, well, I too would like to look at the budget, just because that's me wanting to know all the information. With that being said, $30,000 seems like a paltry amount of money, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. And I think that removing barriers for ADA access and safe access really would be a positive thing, not just for the ADA community, but also for our children who are trying to walk and bike, and those of us who are trying to walk and bike. So I would say that, you know, without looking at the entire budget, which I would certainly like to do to have all the information, I would say yes, I definitely would like to increase the amount of money that's going towards making our streets and sidewalks safer for everyone.
Rondo again. I'll say yes that...
Sorry, I'm Lisa.
I say yes to two questions. I say yes to the question asked, and I say yes to taking a very strong look at those 150 obstructions that were filed at City Council last Wednesday. I would personally like to focus more of my answer on that when I've got 20 seconds left, probably. Let's see at least 10% of those right now. Let's get somebody together, a group together, and invite these council candidates, and let's take a look at those.
Hi, Nathan Body. I would say, as a physician, certainly helping people with disabilities and handicaps are part and parcel of my professional life. And I think efforts to make our community more livable for all of our citizens is top priority. As far as raising a tax or raising revenue, I think that's not our best answer, and we wouldn't even be needing to think about that for something on a $30,000 scale if we hadn't been flagrantly spending tax revenue and fruitless decisions to misspend public funds. And that's certainly something that, if done more appropriately, there's money in the budget for important things like removing barriers.
My name is Casey Rhodes, and the money that we're spending on water and sewer comes out of enterprise funds, and those are funds that are dedicated specifically from the revenue that you pay for your water and your sewer bill. So those really are kind of an aside from the general, the general budget. And I have seen candidates make campaign promises and who become counselors who then have to climb down off of the promise in a very awkward manner. And it is not pretty. And I remember thinking, if I ever run for city council, I'm going to be very careful at these kinds of events to just jump out there for the sake of trying to gain favor or anything like that. I echo the sentiments of Lisa when she said that she too would like to see the budget. $30,000 does not seem like a lot of money. And as Bend grows, one of the benefits of growth could be that as more people are paying in general taxes, we might be able to do some better. So I'd like to take a hard look at it.
Second question. Many of the cities with the most vibrant economies in the 21st century have bike commute numbers over 5 times as great as Bend and are literally competing to attract more cyclists. What can Bend do to catch up with these bike-friendly cities? And Lisa, I'm going to have you start. We'll go down that row, and we'll come this way and go that direction. Many of the cities with the most vibrant economies in the 21st century have bike commute numbers over 5 times as great as Bend and are literally competing to attract more cyclists. What can Bend do to catch up with these bike-friendly cities?
Okay, again, my name's Lisa Seals. So this is another example of where I would love to do a little bit of homework and figure out which cities we're talking about and what they are doing and what has been successful and what has been unsuccessful, because I think a lot can be learned from example and from doing one's homework. So again, as a researcher, that would be my first step. So I think that Bend, it's funny because Bend is already a biking town. I mean, people come from all over to do mountain biking and road biking, and we have all these great events, but yet we're not a great bike commute town. That in some ways doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I know I'm somewhat skirting the question, but I would like to do a little bit more homework and see what could be done and what we aren't doing and how we can do better, because I know we can do better. So.
Rondo. Zero car growth.
Nathan Body here again. I think that we certainly live in a community of cyclists and athletes, and encouraging alternative forms of commuting and transportation is certainly what we're about. I think in the future what we need to do is to recruit more of that sort of activity is smarter, more intelligent planning and design of our communities, new developments, and our road infrastructure. When we're commuting in one part of town that's very bike-friendly and move to another part of town that is flagrantly dangerous and fatal to commute in, that's something we want to engineer in a little more connectivity rather than concentrating on expensive things like enforcement. We concentrate on smart planning that actually encourages safer speeds and encourages the alternative forms of transportation without mandating or costing money.
This is Casey Rhodes, and Wade Fagan is a friend of mine, and Wade has this bicycle that can do like 40 miles an hour. He flies all over town, and he actually does a lot of his estimating, and he saves a ton of money and time because he says he can beat himself in his pickup by up to 10 minutes going east to west. But one of the things that I thought was interesting was, and I don't know the specifics of this, but there was something to do with the horsepower of the motor and the speed of the bike, and there was a certain legality about it could only be X. And I am not an avid bicyclist. However, one of the things Wade told me was that if we would modernize those standards around what the Federal Highway Transportation Administration ratings were, perhaps we would make it safer for people to have those bikes that could accelerate quickly and still be pedal powered, especially when you run out of juice. But I think that might be an outside the box idea.
Yes, I do agree with that. yeah, we need to have